The snake energy will be very much about the fact that, it's you shedding your old skin to allow for that liberation, right? So it's you who then has the energy and the power to rub against the rock, right? To scrape that old skin off. It's a really good time to shift habits that are relational. Really great time to undo codependent patterns, right? Because if you think about it, if you're both wiggling, you're gonna undo those cables. Hello everyone, welcome to Soul Weather, your mid-month energy check-in. I'm Dany Lyne, I'm an intuitive, and for the last 20 years, I've been co-creating wellness and aligned manifestation with folks worldwide, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. In this series, I'm gonna tap us into the main energy through line so that we can alchemize the expansions and the contractions of the life force into our sacred flow. Join my YouTube channel to get your mid-month energy check-in. So good morning, good afternoon, welcome to all of you here live, co-creating the energy field that is going to really contribute to the transmission, and welcome to all of you who will join us via YouTube and via the recording. So blessings on your presence and patience and showing up for this moment when we're really what I'm feeling into is this whole business of being thick into the spring season. And I'm really curious because I just feel like the energy of the spring has really transitioned. Of course, in a lot of places like Toronto, the weather is actually really shifting and the baby leaves are really thriving at this point. But it's an unusual energy this spring. So I think I'm gonna lean into bringing in the wood element, and we'll see who else shows up. But I just, let's get a forecast here of where we're at, because the word spring, it does take us all the way to June 21st, right? So, and in traditional Chinese medicine, we're really looking at the wood element governing all these months that we're in right now. So let's see where we're at. So when I tune into the wood element, the energy that shows up is a very undulating power, and very much the energy akin to snakes is what I'm getting. So it's, what I'm hearing is it's a time of endings and beginnings. So even though the spring, we metaphorically associate it with the beginning, but what I'm really seeing is that we need to honor the endings that are occurring so that many new beginnings can evolve and can blossom. So the energy in terms of, this kind of snake energy and snake medicine, right? It's very much that the power of renewal and the power that you have within you to align with renewal that is serving you at a very broad, holistic level. So, but it also speaks of the courage to meet the endings, to allow for the beginnings to come. So what's interesting is that the beginnings are all in the making, but it takes courage to embrace the endings that come before the beginnings. So what we're being shown here is that we have all the goods, right? The energy's there to align with our growth and the blossoming, and even the blossoming of parts of us we've had a hard time bringing into the world, right? Having a hard time manifesting. So I'm being shown that if there's resistance, really look within yourself, that the resistance is most likely within you rather than in your environment. So in that sense, right, the snake energy will be very much about the fact that, it's you shedding your old skin to allow for that liberation, right? So it's you who then has the energy and the power to rub against the rock, right, to scrape that old skin off. And what I'm getting is that if that courage is being met and is being stoked, and you're walking that path, that there's immense joy and joyous energy, which meets the undulation of change, but also the undulation of dance, of movement, of very lively embodiment of joy through the body, not just the emotions and the psychological realm and the spiritual realm, but through the body. So I'm really being shown, in a sense, it's a time of movement, but not necessarily all just athletic movements that might be repetitious. But, if you go swimming and you do laps, like take the time to twirl around and do somersaults in the water and do handstands and play around is what I'm getting. So same thing, right? If you're getting on your bike and you're doing some mileage, is take the time to get off the bike and, put on the tunes and express and move in a more random and celebratory, but also like an energy that will kindle your life force. So, getting fit is one thing, but I'm really seeing that we got to balance it out with, what brings that joy for you, and a playfulness and an energy, you could say, that's childlike even, right? Like a really buoyant, bubbly zone. And the snake is saying that is inside of you. So you're not waiting for external circumstances, right? You're not waiting for somebody else to put on the music or have the party, right? You're allowing yourself and you're encouraging yourself to create that space for yourself. I'm just going through what I'll call the wiggles. And so it's very different than, I often talk about wobbling, when we're meeting intensity that will wobble. This is the wiggles. So it's like a sense of like effervescence. And the thing is that, it can almost feel like, what you're trying to get rid of is something that doesn't feel comfortable. So you're not starting in a place where you're already joyous. You're starting with this, wiggly kind of energy, and then you're meeting that. And rather than getting stressed out or, anxious, you're meeting it actively and breaking through whatever that system is that's creating that kind of basically a resistance to change, a resistance to growth, a resistance in terms of meeting the challenges, and a resistance to embracing fundamentally your potential and embracing your genius and embracing that, that love song that I keep talking about. So the snake energy is saying part of the wiggles as well is that, that you might have to wiggle against your partner or wiggle against family members or children or habits that are ingrained within a household structure. But it'll be the same thing. I'm just being shown at work. It's going to be the same thing in friendship circles, in whatever communities that you're participating in. This is a time where if you've been in a habit of being the silent one, this is the time where your challenge and your wiggles is to become very, present and verbal and with the outside voice participation in whatever it is. So, and what I'm being shown is that the thing about the snake energy is that, it's slippery, right? So that means that don't be scared of stepping into the potential for change in your marriages and relationships and friendships and coworker or, dynamics with a manager at work, that because the energy is slippery, that it's like you just need to rub against it and it will slide and it will change because it too will wiggle, right? It too is in that motion. So that it's like allow for the potential of transformation at a relational level. Doesn't mean it's not, it doesn't require that taking a deep breath and stoking your courage to do so if there's fear about it or trepidation, but also a sense of you need to be clear about what it is that you're stepping into. So first you're doing it internally, and then you're manifesting it relationally. But yeah, I'm being shown it's a really good time to adjust. It's a really good time to shift habits that are relational. Really great time to undo codependent patterns, right? Because if you think about it, if you're both wiggling, you're going to undo those cables. And it's a good time to do that right now. Yeah, and the energy is very much like an undoing of cables, especially when there's a power imbalance. This is a time to recalibrate the power of each individual in the dynamic, which is, personal power rather than power over dynamics. The liver and gallbladder, right, are the organs that are very active during this time. And what I'm being shown is for anybody who is in gaslighting situation, verbal abuse situation, anything that's coming at you like a radio station that's persistent in an opinion about you that's actually untrue, that's actually putting you down, that's actually creating even shame and humiliation in you, that this is really, your spirit is wriggling out of that. So it's like feel that power inside of you, right, to essentially say no, and to say no to the part of you that has a tendency to believe what they're hearing, right, what you're hearing. So with the liver and the gallbladder, we're talking about activation of the third eye, activation of intuition, of accurate perception, right, of the eyes of the heart. And so those eyes of the heart are also, right, they're being activated for you to see yourself clearly and precisely for who you are now, not something historical and a construct that's, dragging along, but rather really like a strong tuning in to exactly where you are now, and then allowing everything around you and the timelines around you and the structures to follow that. But that's going to be a lot of deconstructing of inaccurate internal myths that you've got rolling around in there that you've been lugging around. So it's self-perception, identities, right? This is the time to shake off the mantle and broaden your sense of self, your sense of how you see yourself and identify yourself. And don't hang on too much to these identities. Go bigger, go bolder, and go truer, right, to that core self within you, that genius, that love song. So that, by the time we hit the summer and we're going into the fire, that you're ready to sing loud and clear. And then what your song is, right? It's not just that other people are going to hear it. You have to feel it from within accurately what your heart song is. So the snake energy is really moving that in you so that basically the mental field is really up for a big clean out. Yeah, so I'm just being shown that, Ma is coming in along with the snake energy. And so she's saying, the thing is that the thing about intuition, we think we want intuition for information from the outside, right, to come in so that we gain some sort of wisdom. But she's saying that the information comes from inside. So basically, what will get in the way of that wisdom to float up into your consciousness is your own messy mental field with all these false beliefs and all of these unconscious biases, like, right, the muck of decades of accumulation of thoughts, right, that essentially don't serve you, but also are not, a lot of it, she's saying, are untruths. So she's saying that's the thing about this energy, is that it's to claim your intuition and to realize that intuition is tapping into your own resource of wisdom, your own channel to wisdom, which is a channel deep within your heart, to the depths of your heart, to your heart of heart. Because in your heart of heart, that's where we're all one, and that's where the consciousness and the level of awareness that allows you to perceive yourself and the world from basically a unified, respectful, like sort of profoundly respectful space, right? Which will include yourself. So just snake is saying, the snake medicine is saying that, the light is on in the room, basically. So you just have to look around and you'll see the thoughts and you'll think, what kind of, right, what decade is that from? And what XX is that from? And what member of, the family of origin is that from? So they're saying, both of them are saying, the light is so bright right now. And so don't just be aware, right? Because you're seeing that for what it is, or potentially seeing it for what it is. But if you're not sort of paying attention, it's like you could, all those thoughts will be present. They're there for you to notice, but you could just fall into them and then believe them again. So it's a bit of a, there's a lot of them. So for some people, it's going to be like, whoa, that's intense, right? But know that it's intense for you to, it's just there for you to see, not repeat and fall into the anxiety that usually comes with that whole field. I mean, they're both dancing right now. So that, dance and movement and music and ecstatic expression through the body is clearly really, really relevant to this. And they're saying that it's through this movement that you'll allow those thoughts to thin and decompose and get slippery, so that then they melt and then they end up in the ground below you. And what will rise as a result is, in that dance, you're cultivating the joy, and you're really giving a concerted effort to let joy win, which is a practice. Give me a sec. They're both talking at the same time. I've got to sort it out. Give me a sec here. Yeah, they're basically both aiming at, they're saying the light in the room is there, right? And you're going to see the chaos of your own mind more clearly, basically. But you're also, right, you could say that in a way there's light on in the whole world, and that you're going to see also the chaos that's happening right at that larger level. But they're both saying that in the same way that you're going to make a concerted effort, right, to dispel the untruths and also cultivate joy, that there's also a concerted effort, and Ma has talked to us about that before. There are a lot of people in the world doing amazing things. If in your day you spend 80% of your time finding those people, getting involved with those people, supporting those people, celebrating their efforts, you're going to be in a much better place than if you spend 100% of the time with the dissonance and the chaos and the untruths, right? Not necessarily just untruths, necessarily how the media might put a spin on things, but untruths in terms of the leaderships, right, of various countries and all that. So it's like, don't get lost in all of those untruths. Keep coming back right now and you witness, you pay attention, you're involved at whatever level. Your genius is part of that endeavor to create peace and to create opportunities for people to heal, what have you. But there's this sense of the people who are doing good work and have their heads on their shoulders and are tapping into their love song, they need people to hear their love song and to participate in their work and to encourage their work. And that's not always financial, right? That can be an email, like they're saying, encourage people. Give them that tap in the shoulder, write that text and write that reply that just allows them to just have that they know that there's a pair of eyes on them that sees them and honors their work. And then it's all going to align too in terms of your genius as well, right? How it is you're engaging there, because we are going to be putting the pedal to the metal pretty soon in terms of our own active engagement for creating world peace, essentially. It's interesting, Ma is saying too, is just that because we're all in this snake energy and in this very powerful, right, release from the old and embracing the new, she's saying there's people you might have not given 5 minutes of your time to that actually have changed their tune and are doing something different. So she says there might be people and organizations out there that you've written off as hopeless or dangerous, but that actually people are changing in those institutions as well. And so it's not, she says, pay attention and snoop around, because there's change happening in organizations, and groups of people are shifting and are growing in awareness, are educated, educating themselves. And so she says that those people need a lot of encouragement as well. We're changing, and imagine if somebody shows up and really encourages you and helps you change. But it's very important for us to acknowledge also our power and capacity to help others change and to hold space for others to change, and for others to kind of go and to feel like they can talk to you, so that they're not scared to talk to you, to say, can we talk about this kind of thing in this political arena, and just have the patience that you're the one who might be doing a bit of educating. So if people around you are, showing that they're putting in some effort, it's like patience, right? And compassion and kindness. Those are all the very high vibrations of the wood element, which governs the spring. So it's like, right, we're being shown here that this is a really ripe time to even step into mentorship roles, right? To mentor young people, and to mentor not so young people, and to allow for yeah, for all of us to, as much as we're students and we're growing, is we need, Ma is saying, we need the teachers right now. We need the people that step forward, right, to basically to share information and to empower people to change their minds, empower people to open their hearts. So, Snake is saying, it's like I'm in all the slipperiness and the wiggliness, Snake is saying, I'm like the best WD-40 right now, right? In the world of the mind, right? Like, just think, we're just putting WD-40 in everything. We're letting things change in you, which means that when things change toward that goodness in your heart, it means that you develop a more profound respect for all beings, and then all of, from wherever they're at in their position, so that we're all gathering at some point in a coherent state where we can actually maintain harmony. You can imagine if you have a lot of WD-40 going on in your mind right now, you got to show up again with that patience and the courage for yourself, right? To dislodge some of those things that have been, that you're assuming in a way that you assumed and are assuming that you need to die to be liberated from, right? The stuff that you take as the foundation of who you are, it's like, we're talking about going to those deep levels and letting that zone, even that zone, shift and transform. And so, it's they're both talking about that can be experienced as a destabilizing effect, because it's your foundation that's up for change. So it's, and just think, right, if we're moving towards harmony, we have a lot of that foundational level in all of us to change, because we've, many cultures we've been taught to hate as part of our culture, right? We've been taught all kinds of hogwash right at that really core level of our positioning on the globe at the geopolitical and cultural level. So if we're going to change that within ourselves, you can imagine that at some point it's all those identities, right? It's the identities themselves that need to shift. And the more we do that in ourselves, the more we're going to have patience for the folks that have a higher contrast bandwidth to navigate, perhaps, than we do. But we all need to do some of that work, right? So, but if you're in it, you've rolled up your sleeves, you can feel some of that destabilization and like, whoa, that's a big piece, right? To transform within myself, right? Then we most likely can show up as more compassionate guides and teachers and mentors for all of those that are open to transformation right now. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people are open to transformation already, but there's new folks who are coming online for transformation. So we're going to finish up with the something that Anandamayi Ma and referred to in this transmission and earlier, the 80-20 magic number. 80% focus on the joy, focus on who's doing good work in the world, focus on the aspects of your children, your partners, yourself in that light. And then allow for that 20% to be where you're turning on a reliable source of information to tune in to whatever's going on where there's dissonance and violence and catastrophe. But also then, if you're at 80-20, what I'm seeing here is you're way more likely to be less, to be gripped by fear, because fear is going to weaken your capacity for engagement. So the 80-20 is really a magic number to stay in your power, to stay in your joy, to stay in that heart song, so that then you can actually participate and change the world, because the fear is just going to create more mess. Just don't underestimate our power to bring peace in the world, to bring change, and to help who needs to be helped, and all of it, right? And then to help people, more and more people around the globe. There's the education factor is a really big one, so that there's more and more people available for that change as facilitators, as sympathetic and compassionate witnesses, etc. And with this energy, basically, wherever you are, and if you're feeling hemmed in, just to come back a bit to the beginning in terms of relationships and partnerships, whether personal or professional or familial, is be the change. Basically, be the change. Blessings. Thank you.